education and personal education. They say that the difference between men is the education that they give themselves personally. After the classroom, after all the certificates, after all the degrees, the difference that you're going to get from the same person if you did not self-educate will be just the data that you get from school, and the data that you get from school is not the one that is going to make you hugely successful. The one that is going to make you hugely successful, pursuing your dreams, becoming financially successful, having a good family, good relationship, making impact in your country and in your community, is going to come from the education that you personally desire to give to yourself. So I'm going to talk about things that the school has not at the moment added to it. So a lot of parents, a lot of people expect their children to complete school and become hugely successful, so become engineers, doctors, lawyers, the things that we know. But very few people are able to educate their children to say that you are going to be that much successful if you pay more attention to the education that you give to yourself personally. The books that you read, the videos that you watch, the audios that you listen to, the seminars that you go, the things that you are always feeding yourself with. Those are the things that are going to make a major difference between you and the same person who will not do that. So my name is Kwabena. If you look at the education structure in Africa, there are four things that you will not see. There are four things that you will not see added to your education. One of it is the right data on our race as Africans. The right data to give us the best of information so that we'll be able to accept ourselves more confident and not feel diminished or inferior to other race. That kind of content, that kind of data is not added to education. I remember I was up to the final year in the university and there was that much little data on my race as Africans, as blacks, in terms of science, technology, and engineering. And so a lot of the examples that I had were from the European kind of education. So if you go through school in our country, it's mainly Western kind of education that they have given us, much of it, especially when it comes to science, engineering, technology, and even the social sciences, the psychology, the philosophy. It's all made of, a lot of it is made of from historians and heroes from Europe and America. And so by the time you finish the school, you have basically very little data on our race, and therefore when you subconsciously you will feel inferior if you meet the other people. And that's why you meet a lot of our mates, highly educated, they live abroad, and they have very wrong data on Africans. And the things that they talk about, bad leadership, corruption, Africa is bad. They want Africa to do well, but then they have gone to live somewhere and they are hoping that some angels from heaven will come and develop Africa. And sometimes when you see the data, when you see the argument that they put out, you know that these people have not been well taught and educated as Africans. So they think like they are Europeans, they are Caucasians. And for me, that is very unfortunate. And the more we have a lot of people like that, the more we are going to struggle. Because when they get into leadership, they cannot relate, they cannot solve the problems because they were wrongly educated on their people. So you would have to have data, right data, read books from African writers, read books from key historians who have different perspective other than what the colonizers and imperialists gave us, so that you will be able to square, at least balance the information that much. I've met a lot of people who are highly educated. Whenever you get into any discussion and any debate on Africa, you can easily predict where they stand. And the Africans, they are passionate, they are patriotic, but they are ill-informed, wrong data on Africa, and therefore it's obvious. You can always predict them. Bad leadership, corruption, people are inherently wicked and corrupt. All those are the narratives that they've been giving from whoever told us the history that they have not questioned. So that's one thing that I try to find. If I find somebody who does not have that, it's difficult for me to relate. And it's also difficult for you to find any African who has all the other things that I'm going to talk about. So the right data on Africa is key in the personal education. This one is not coming from the school. I don't know if they have added it, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they're going to add it anytime soon. So that's why we still wear suit and tie and we feel that we are very enlightened. That's why we give our children all kind of names that our grandparents cannot even pronounce. That's why we still go to all these, European religious institutions and we feel closer to it. That's why we still have Jesus painted as white. across board, everywhere, nobody questions it. That's why when I speak to the bank guy in English, he feels like I'm very intelligent, but when I speak to him in Twi, he questions my intelligence. The next kind of education is financial education. They don't put that in school. They don't put that in school, and so you have to put that in yourself. You must find the right data on finance, how to acquire money, how to grow money, how to invest money. A lot of people only work for salary, and that they, if you see them, is only they only get they only wake up when they are going into retirement, and they look at their money and they see that they have nothing. So you have to find a way of really educating yourself financially, and that will come from personal education, and that is that key. It's so much important that you educate yourself financially, and the wrong financial data will make you suffer all your life. It's not finance. Becoming wealthy and become financially independent is more than just getting salary. Salary is just one source of revenue. There are 1,001 sources of revenue that you can add to yourself, and that calls for knowledge, a lot of data, and that I'm saying, where a lot of it were not added in the school. Even the accountants and the people who have studied finance, they studied them so that they could get a job, not to create wealth for themselves. So the kind of education I'm talking about is the one that will help you to use and to create wealth for yourself. The other one is critical thinking, being able to think and ask questions. Every data that we've been given, our kind of education, our children don't have that. We didn't have that. We are not able to ask questions, not even from the culture or from our authorities or from the church or from any institutions that try to control us. So you have to train yourself to ask questions, and that's where it collides a lot of the times with our culture. But you cannot use your brain if you don't ask questions, and yet if you don't use your brain, you are not going to be successful in this life. You would have to depend on others to build so that you can follow. Those who are able to build anything, bring a lot of changes, are people who are able to use. They know the power of a developed mind, and so you have to develop yourself to teach your children how to think critically and think for themselves and question everything until they get to the bottom line. So my name is Kwabena. Subscribe to this channel so that you can get a lot of this data. The next one is how to build systems and structures and processes. That one was not also added in education. So that's what you heard of African culture, African maintenance culture. It's because we're not taught systems and structures. Even the ones, if you join any company, for instance, you don't know how the systems were built. You just flow. So majority of our people just follow. They can work in the system, but they cannot build it. And you have to know how to build processes and systems and protocols of success, of independence in thinking, of development, of being able to build an institution, anything like that, So if you can't do that, then it will become difficult for you to become successful. So my name is Kwabena. I'm saying that these 4 things were not added to education. I think that the only thing that was not added in their kind of education in America and England probably is the financial education that they try to pull out. But ours, the 4, they didn't add. So which means the right data on your race, the finance and critical thinking, and the next one is being able to build systems and structures. So my name is Kwabena. Thank you very much for watching, and subscribe to this channel as well. Thank you.